Good evening, Gautam.
Good evening, Sam.
It's a pleasure to have you for this 82nd episode of Jam with Sam. So you multiply that by 2, so you know how many people I interviewed. So I and Gautam know each other for how many years? I think more than 10 years?
10 plus for sure.
10 plus years.
Yeah.
I still remember him. I think you had come down for a BNI meeting.
Right.
And then I made you visit various BNI chapters till, like they said, you can't visit too many more BNI chapters after that. Okay, so you were born and brought up in the UK.
That's correct.
So tell us something about that.
Well, I was born and brought up in London. Quite some time back now. And lived there for a good 20 years. So my entire childhood, education was in the UK up till graduating in university.
Which school did you go to? Which college?
School's name, up to 13, which was called Ole Farm Prep School. Then it was Bearwood College up till the age of 16. Then my parents relocated from there to West Africa. We continued in London and moved to a boarding school for 2 years, which was a weekly boarding. And then university was in Brunel University.
Brunel University.
Brunel University, in West London.
In West London.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot of people from Africa. Her parents also in Africa. Here one more. Africa. Okay. What did you major in?
It was business and finance.
Business and finance. Fantastic. Okay. Fun time. So which would you pick? Being world class, attractive, a genius, or famous for doing something great?
I would say a genius.
Genius for doing something. Okay. So attractive. You're already attractive. So genius.
Genius, so I can give back.
Can give back. Yes. In what situations, this happens in events field a lot, do you wish you could throw down a smoke bomb and disappear?
In the events industry, when suddenly the AV goes off, which happens despite all the planning behind the scenes. The AV goes off and I'm like, again, and I just want to go into hiding.
Okay, if you could have dinner with anyone in history. That I'm going to ask him later. If you could have dinner with anyone from history, who would it be?
Nelson Mandela.
Why?
For me, for someone who has been in one of the lowest points in his life, being inside, and then to come out and become the president of the country, to me, we all go through our challenges and our successes, and if I can learn from someone like him and how he turned that around, I think it would be a great learning experience, and I have a lot of respect for him as well. So to me,
very nice, very nice. Okay, so we have the right stuff, we have the right selection also. So tell us about right selection. How did it start? Who was the founder? And how did it transform from a bookstore to a speaker powerhouse?
Yeah, so I've got to surely include my dad with the story, because without him the story would be incomplete.
So there's one very funny thing on Facebook. Whenever I tag Gautam and it gets auto tagged, it never tags with Gautam. It always tags as his dad. So invariably his dad is like, his dad is where I'm not there in that photo. Why am I getting tagged over there? So you have to do more tagging, So then Facebook algorithm will learn. Tell us, come on.
Thank God it doesn't do voice adulation, because our voices have 97% similarity, which is a problem in childhood, as you can imagine. When I used to have phone calls as a teenager, and he would pick up. But we won't go there now.
You also call up. Yeah, this is Gautam's dad speaking when the principal calls up, so it works both ways over there. Tell me.
Yeah, so I was born and brought up in London, as I said, and moved to Dubai in '95. But prior to that, my dad was between the UK and West Africa for about 30 years, those territories. He always had a passion for reading books. And these were books specifically self-help books, your personal development, business development. So not fiction, very much non-fiction. And that's something which is a part and parcel of him from a very young age. I mean, in terms of your Dale Carnegie, Norman Vincent Peale, Stephen Covey, all those eminent authors. And that's what was his passion. So one fine day in 1993, he took a break from the family business. It was quite a big family where you had your chachas and brothers and everyone involved in the West African side of the business, typical Sindhi business of import, export. He said, no, let me visit Dubai, met some family and friends, and he said, let me set up a bookstore. It's something I'm passionate about. And that's when October 1993, he set up a business bookstore under the name of Right Selection.
Okay.
And it was a self-help bookstore. It was on the front page of the newspapers within a few months, because it was something unique, something different in such a niche area. That's how the grassroots started in 1993. I joined in 1995 from the UK, and I said, okay, what's the next stage? And I said, well, I'm not a big reader. Bite-sized books, summaries is one thing. I said, okay, I love listening. And in fact, there were audiobooks in those times. So I started bringing the audio versions of those books in those days. And soon that became the video version. So that ran for about 5 years. And we were distributing, working with corporates, helping them build a library and distributing the range of books. We then started getting speakers like Tom Peters, Philip Kotler, who were coming to the country through event companies.
Okay.
And we said, okay, let's be the preferred partner in having a bookstall at the back of the room. So you'd say 5 years into the business, we started being the bookstore and the back of all these events, conferences with these eminent global thought leaders. And that's really was a natural progression until the year 2000. And Dad and myself, who were very, very close, literally we said, okay, what's next? What's next in the business? And we said, how about we bring the authors of the books live? And we realized there was a direct connect between those who buy books in the self-help space. They're emotionally engaged with the content of that book. If that content makes an impression on their personal life in some way, or they improve business-wise, they become what we call a fan, if not a raving fan.
Yes.
And then there's a sort of excitement and engagement to wanting to see the speaker live. So we had our first event with a speaker by Bob Urichuk, second event with a speaker by Ron Kaufman, who you've met many times. And we literally sent emails to all the people who bought these types of books, and we had 130 people in our first seminar.
Wow.
And realized, wow, that's the direct correlation. Until today, if someone asks me, how do you decide which speaker to represent? How do you decide which speaker to host? I go directly to the local bookstores of that country and go and see what books are selling, because that's the pulse of the market. It's the same in the music industry. I mean, if the music industry is doing well, you want to go to a live concert, irrespective of having access to content for free, which you have today. You want to see your excitement, you're emotionally engaged, and you want to see that live performance and the live speaker. And we then went into organizing public seminars ourselves, did that for a number of years. And soon after that, we realized when you bring in a big speaker, the eminent, big, large organizations say, could we engage that speaker privately for our senior management? Could we bring him in for our frontline? So it was a very natural, organic progression from a bookstore to bringing the authors of the books live, to then organizing those seminars, and then providing the same talent to the companies, which is now what the core business is about. And the books and other parts of the business just take care of themselves.
Wow. Amazing, amazing journey. And you have completed 25 years.
That's correct, as a business.
As a business. Okay. So we come to a couple of topics of discussion.
Sure.
What is your number one marketing strategy from your experience?
It's a question I'm asked actually quite a few times, and the typical answers people make is it social media, is it radio, newspaper, TV, you've marketed over 100 events. And I said, none of the above. And they're like, none of the above, none of these, PR? No, I said, none of the above. I said, okay, what is the number one strategy? And to me, it's what I term, and back in the UK, it says breaking bread. Now, you say breaking bread. Breaking bread is where you have a meal or an energy exchange in that context with your customers, with your vendors, whoever they may be, in my case, with my speakers. And to me, that's the unprecedented number one marketing strategy. We would host in Dubai 6 to 8 dinners a year where we have a speaker, we invite all our top clients to have a meal and have a meal with your speakers, with your clients, and you break bread. And that's where you build genuine, authentic relationships, when you have food with each other. And to me, nothing comes close to that at all. In the toughest times in Dubai, I would say we remained top of mind because we had built a personal, authentic, genuine relationship way beyond a business, because you got to know each other personally, you knew each other's interests, and you had a vested interest in each one's personal success way beyond a business from a transactional point of view. It was really about collaboration, abundance, and relationship driven. So to me, what I call breaking bread, I've created my own Dubai or India version of that because I'm aspiring to be more of a speaker in time to come. And you say, okay, what is the Dubai India version? And people say, okay, roti. Okay, roti is ROTI. And I say, actually, it's return on time invested, because it's how do you use your time? Because that's the one thing that doesn't come back in your life.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So you completed 25 years. How has been the experience working with your dad as a father and son family business? There's an age gap, and most of the time, like I see it in my own family, the father and son have got like two different opinions, because they come from a different mindset. You come from a more traditional mindset. They are more aware of the latest things happening, while the father wants to keep relationships with older people. Why you keep a relationship? He's not giving us money. No, he's got a relationship. So how do you manage that? That must be a big challenge.
I guess I've heard that from others that it's a challenge, and I have very few friends who have that. So I would say, first and foremost, I'm deeply grateful to have a very unique relationship with my dad, which goes way back before I was in the business. From childhood days, I had such a close relationship with so many common interests, from sports to the movies we watched to a great, even though we are opposite in many ways in our personalities, from an extrovert to him being an introvert to many ways, but realized that we found a great common platform where we actually, he would say to some extent, you know, I'm the accelerator wanting to do things much faster pace, and he would help me pause, slow down, think about things. And we found such a great synergy that today I would say he's my best friend, my coach, my spiritual guide, my partner, and very grateful for that. So to me, I've not really experienced the sort of natural concern that some others may experience. I would just say I'm deeply grateful that we have a fantastic working relationship, and it was our biggest plus. We would have walks together, go for cricket matches together, watch common movies, and we just have a fantastic bond. And to me, till today, people who know us and have interacted and say, yes, that's the father and son team, and we know them extremely on a personal level. So that
Even Facebook doesn't realize that.
Yes, absolutely.
What's one thing you like about Mumbai?
Mumbai, just the energy. And I'm an energy person. Everything's about energy.
What about food?
Food is fantastic.
Okay, what is your why in terms of business you have selected, and what is the drive which gets you up every day?
Some of you would have heard of Simon Sinek and the famous book Start With Why, which is a renowned book, and if you haven't read it, I highly recommend you get a copy. Also, as a CEO, I would recommend, slightly off track but a roundabout way, is that all of you, I really feel having a coach is something I highly recommend. To the extent I have a coach, or I've had coaches, but I have a coach I look for every area. Someone in the fitness world, something in your business and personal and maybe relationships. Because I mean, the most successful people have a coach. You know, in the sports personality, there's no exception there. So I share that story because one of my coaches in Dubai really told me that you need to understand why you do what you do. It's extremely important. I mean, you're busy being busy. You feel that I'm in a business, it's growing, everything's going well, but that's not enough. You're still missing that cutting edge, that excitement, because we're going to all through those ups and downs. And it's your why that gets you up in the morning. It's your why that keeps you driven with positive energy to achieve the results. So I've given a bridge story, but through a coaching session, it was dug very deep and I was asked question after question. And I realized it actually went back to my childhood when at the age of 13, I was in a school, and the school I was in was predominantly English children, and I was in technically a foreign land in that sense. But I went through a difficult experience where I was teased, I was humiliated, I was made fun of. So that experience was difficult. My self-esteem was all-time low, confidence was low, and it resulted in me having very few friends. So you realize that, I suddenly said that nothing makes sense. And I was, what I'd say, in a negative frame of mind, whether one says anxious or negative or feeling just lost. I went to my dad and I said, nothing makes sense. I mean, I have very few friends, my grades are not doing well, and nothing makes any sense. And I shared with him the difficult experience. And he said to me, I'm going to give you 3 pieces of advice. And this advice will be good for the rest of your life. And I said, okay, I'm ready. And he said, surround yourself with the right people, continuously learn, and above all, take action. And very soon I was fortunate, I was able to change schools 6 months later. The group of friends I had, total radical change, great bunch of friends. I suddenly felt good about my life. Everything was on a high. I was suddenly the one organizing where we go on the weekends. I was the heart and soul of the group, and my natural self came out because I was surrounded by right people. My education was suddenly, my grades were up, and I continuously learned in all forms. And then above all, I took action. And when you take action, you're either learning or progressing. Yeah. There's nothing else. And when this came out of the coaching session, I said to myself, I realized this is why I do what I do, because with the business of right selection, we're bringing the world's best speakers to an event, we're attracting like-minded, like-hearted people. So you're surrounding yourself with the right people. We're inspiring, I mean, you're learning because you're learning from people, you're learning from the books, you're learning from education, you're learning from the speakers. So my ultimate goal is to inspire you or inspire each and every individual to take action. And I realized, my God, that goes back to that childhood, because I was in a difficult situation. And here as adults, you could have financial problems, you could have relationship problems, you could have business problems, whatever those problems are. In this case, let's say you have business challenges. So we're creating an environment where you're surrounded by the right people. You're going to be surrounded by learning, be it in books, in audios, in videos, in blogs, in articles, in the speakers. So my only goal is to inspire you to actually take action from what you learn. And when you take action, something new is going to happen in your life. So I saw this deep childhood experience correlate to the business I'm in. And I know that each and every person, no matter wherever you are in your life, has a challenge. And the challenges may change, but always challenge is a part of life. So that was, to me, my why.
Fantastic, fantastic. You recently spoke at how you run a successful event. I think in Singapore you had gone as a speaker.
Yeah, a couple of years back.
Of years back. Can you tell us how did it feel speaking? You normally always are on this side, hearing. How was it speaking?
Yeah, it was a unique experience. I think my opening line, in fact, the audience was 200 speakers in the room. And they asked me, the topic they asked me to speak on was your insider secrets of a speaker's bureau. So what does it take to be booked as a speaker? What does it take to be a speaker who earns $1,000 to $50,000? So I said, fine, it's about my business. But I said, I'm used to putting hundreds of speakers on stage. So it was a unique experience to be on stage in front of 200 speakers. But it was a good experience, and I'm very grateful. I mean, it was to have had actually a standing ovation at the end of it is because I just shared open-heartedly my entire business, and that's me. To me, there's enough. You have an abundance mentality. The more you share, I mean, the friends I have till today, they say the presentation you made that day, you shared all your secrets openly. You were vulnerable. You shared openly, and it has impacted many of their lives to change the way their careers have gone. Today, I know at least 2 speakers who said that what you shared that day, I made certain changes in my plans, and today my income has gone up tenfold because of the advice you gave that day. To me, that's priceless, So that was a good experience.
So, couple of controversial questions. A lot of time, people want free speaking assignments. Free mein speaker chahiye. We don't. Especially it happens because people don't value it. How you do that? Why did you call him? He's already come for this India. Tell him to give us some time. How do you counter those things?
In the sense of what advice would I give someone, or
no? What will you tell that person? Somebody comes to you, why don't you give your speaker? I want it free of cost. This is a great event you can be seen at. How do you tend to that?
To me, I see. You've got to understand that everyone's asking a question from their standpoint. So to me, when I have something which is awkward or difficult or sensitive, I just try and make it a little lighthearted and playful. So I'll use it back on them. I said, would you consider providing free something in this context of their business? And then they get the idea and get the point. And I realize that there's a value to whatever each one's creating. It's a career. It's a professional speaker. If he's a professional speaker, then that's his career. That's his bread and butter to put food on the table, literally. Absolutely. So when you understand that, he's not speaking for casually. He's speaking as a form of a professional living, as are you in your career and your business. So I just playful, and then I reverse it, and then there's a realization. As long as you don't get defensive or attack, you just be lighthearted and be authentic and just share. I really appreciate you understand that this is a professional career.
Copywriting training content. A lot of people, watch the speaker speaking, and then they create their own, formula, copy that. So I think this was there's an event where Frederick had come in.
Yes, Frederick.
So he said, copyright. If you're copying something, copy it right. Don't make a mess out of that. So that's what he said. There's nothing like original. Everybody's taking information and creating that. So is there any kind of a way a person can prevent, a motivational speaker or something, or is it that person presenting makes a difference? It's not a content. What do you feel?
No, I mean, definitely there's a lot of similar messages being shared by different speakers, and yes, it's the speaker's style of engagement that's going to make it completely different. His energy, his delivery style, his tonality, his articulation, his humor, his stories, there's many elements that make a great speaker. To answer the question slightly differently in the terms of we have speakers who are very protective about their IP and their content, and this is the content I've made, etc. And yet our #1 book speaker in the world is paid 10 times more than the average speaker, and he's booked more, and he gives away all his information for free. So if that is an awakening for someone, and that speaker is Marshall Goldsmith, many of you have heard of him, he says, no need to take notes if you don't need to. I'm going to be sharing my entire presentation with you absolutely free. If you need articles, content, blogs, go down to our website. He's building, I mean, he's giving so much away. Partly, yes, it creates a legacy for him. But reality is, you're building so much value. It goes back to the earlier part. He's growing his fan base. He has 1.3 million followers on LinkedIn. 1.3 million followers on LinkedIn as an influencer, and he gives away all his content for free, yet he's paid $50,000, and the speakers who had $5,000 saying, make sure my USB comes back to me, make sure no one gets a copy of that, it's copyrighted, no one should take photographs, if there's photographs, take the photos, delete them there. I'm like, you know, scarcity versus abundance, and the price points speak for itself, and the demand for Marshall Goldsmith, who gives away everything for free. If that isn't proof of the pudding, then I don't know what is, you know.
So there's a lot of talk about live streaming a conference. So do you think that affects seats? The person says, I'm going to sit at home and watch this conference. Does it affect the seats?
I guess it'll affect the seats for the people who would not normally come anyway. I would look at it that way. I mean, unless someone's genuinely busy. To me, I myself love live events, and I wouldn't replace that with that unless it was an executive summary and I couldn't attend the event. But I look at live streaming as a strategy for reaching people who cannot reach an event. For example, Tony Robbins is in Dubai in September, and you can't reach it for the costs are prohibitive, the timing is not right, and if they live stream a part of that program and at a certain cost perhaps as well, then that's being sensible that you're leveraging the scalability of the reach to saying, other than the 15,000 people who are there live at a premium price point, we're also reaching 100,000 people at 5% of that cost, but those 100,000 people wouldn't come because the cost would be prohibitive, the timing, etc. So to me, if it's perceived correctly, it's about how it's positioned and how it's presented, really, from my perspective.
What does the word collaboration mean to you?
1 + 1 = 11.
Very nice.
Another way my dad always says, he says, we must divide to multiply. That's my dad's saying. So I stand by that, and I absolutely love collaboration. I mean, how much you can do in partnership is infinitely more than you can do alone. So if you don't collaborate, and in today's times, even more so. In today's times when things are changing so fast, and you know, with technology and everything, to me, collaboration is everything. Play to your strengths and outsource your weaknesses, and collaborate is definitely the way to go.
How do you respond when you come across difficult people? We spoke about this a day back.
Difficult people. How many of you here, by a show of hands, know someone difficult in your life? Excluding your spouses, of course. No, I mean, to me, difficult people exist, but I learned from a book I read a long time ago, which was called Dealing with Difficult People, and it changed the word difficult by calling them different. And the moment I come across someone whose energy or vibe doesn't gel with me, and I just change the word difficult to say different. And the moment you perceive that person, whether it's a family member or a business member, there are certain people you cannot avoid. They may be difficult, be it a family member, but when you perceive someone as different, it's about then understanding what the differences are. And you can change yourself. That's again in your control. But when you say difficult, there's retaliation, there's anger, there's stress, there's pressure, there's just completely negative energy. The moment you see different, yeah, he's different. Someone's taller, someone's shorter, someone's darker, someone's lighter, someone has a short temper, someone's an introvert, extrovert. We're all different. Every single person in this world is different. So just accept the fact that people are different, not difficult. And that to me makes a profound difference. Just by using that word numerous times, you'll actually just see the languaging that you use would change how you respond to that person.
Beautiful. You organize about over 100 events. What do you feel is the biggest untapped value by a delegate when attending an event?
I'm actually going to be creating a speech on this. So at an event in Bombay in August with 800 delegates, a coaching conference. And to me, I realized that, you know, the most underutilized, and people know, okay, networking, but to me, you have a golden opportunity at every event, even be it this evening, be it these events you go to. And people who attend events, they say, oh, I'm going there to learn. They say it was a great venue. The food was fantastic. The chairs were comfortable. I met my friends. These are common things which are a given. You're going there to learn, you'll take notes, you'll apply some, you won't apply, you'll meet people you know, you'll have a good meal, and you'll enjoy the ambience of the venue. Is that it? And most people, that's it. And they miss out on the chance to break bread. I go back to breaking bread. In this 3-day conference in August, they have 3 lunch breaks. They have 9 coffee breaks. That's 12 opportunities to sit with someone you don't know. And we could make a new friend, you could find a mentor, you could find a coach, you learn something new. You're going to anyway meet the people you know. You're going to anyway build those relationships. But you're missing out on a golden opportunity. And I can say 95% of the audience would not have met a handful. You got 12 opportunities in 3 days. Just one new person per break. And it's underutilized. And it could be for just not knowing how. And I'm creating a 20-minute keynote that I'm offering to all conferences in India just before the lunch break and sharing with you 5 things you can do in the break and leave that conference, with value way beyond that conference. Because again, that time doesn't come back.
Absolutely. So you've worked with multiple global speakers. I mean, the who's who of the industry. Which one has been the best and why? And who's been the most, I'll not say difficult, different, and why?
The positives, I have to say, again, I mentioned his name once before, but Marshall Goldsmith. We've worked with him for the last 5 years. We've done over nearly 100 events with him now. And previously to that, I would say Ron Kaufman was right up there. But he makes it so easy. It's an absolute pleasure, privilege, and honor to work with someone who makes your role as seamless, as effortless, and as pleasurable. He is just such a delight to work with. And when you have that, you're so motivated, inspired, and excited each day to represent someone who makes it easy for you to work with, whichever business you're in. In the difficult space, I would say I would not really name names because that's not really appropriate, but I would say the characteristics, because that's what you've got to learn from. It's not about naming people, it's about learning from it. So to me, the characteristics is I have a speaker we came across, and it's across the board. He's been one of the most profitable speakers for an event organizer to host, yet they've never hired him a second time. Imagine engaging a speaker, making commercially good money, and not bringing him back because he timed his event to the exact minute and left. He gave 15 minutes for photographs and left. He had no lunch, no dinner with the organizers and left. It felt like a transaction. Again, where's collaboration? Where's abundance? An organizer like myself has invested valuable, hard-earned money to host you there. You would be no one on stage. You'd not earn the right to be on stage if the people in the room had not paid good money to be there. Your books would have not have sold in the room, and that's the reason you become popular. And you don't have time to take photographs. Another great example quickly on that same subject was Jack Canfield. We hosted Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul. His contract was 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We hosted him in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore. But in the Bombay example was 6 to 9 p.m. at Nehru Center. And he said an hour. There were over 750 people. He stayed till midnight till every single person got a photograph. I mean, that's going over and beyond. I thought an hour and people would be understanding. Not everyone can afford a. He stayed till 3 hours making everyone got a photograph. I said, Jack, I don't know how you do it. He said, Gautam, who knows when and if I ever come back to Bombay? Who knows, I would be nowhere. Or my 1 billion books sold worldwide, this country contributed to that. This human being has given his valuable time and money to be here. That photograph is something is going to be priceless. If I want to think of a business, he's going to post it on social media, so even more people are going to know about it. How can I do that? And to me, that's the distinct difference, is when someone's scarcity mentality with their time and someone's abundant. That's the biggest difference between a group, the speakers.
So, couple of guys have made books over here. We have people in our community aspiring to become published authors or speakers. What is your advice to give them and the best chance of success?
Could you frame the question? I'm just trying to...
we have people in our community who want to become published speakers or authors.
Okay.
What bit of advice can you give them?
I'd encourage it for sure as a start. Each and every one of us is an expert at something. And I would say the best gift you can give yourself is to honor that expertise and share it, because that's how you create a legacy and that's how you give back. And when you say author, it stands for authority. So you're an authority in some area. Share that. It's from a business point of view, it's the ultimate #1 business card of of your business to give away your books to be available. It gives you credibility. It shows you an authority. and to me it's a fantastic tool as well. So there's multiple benefits in that, but the minimum excitement to me is just your way of giving back and making a difference and sharing your story, your learnings with the youth of tomorrow, with the future leaders.
Fantastic. So Sachin says boost is the secret of his energy. What daily habits do you do to keep yourself energetic the whole day?
I have 10 habits that I do my level best to include each day. I'll mention 3 or 4 of them that come to mind, but yeah, to me is exercise to start your day is absolutely mandatory. To have that fresh air oxygen, whether it's a walk, whether it's yoga, whether it's exercise, to start your day with some form of exercise. And I'd rather do 30 minutes every day than an hour every other day. So even if it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, do something every single day. So that would be one is the exercise in the morning. The other one is I drink at least minimum 2 liters of water a day.
Water.
You know?
When you said drink, I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
I should have paused on the drink and then, in the evening here. But yeah, drinking lots of water is definitely something I do. I watch at least a 5 to 10 minute inspirational, motivational video a day of some sort just to at something. So these are 3 of the things. I look for someone to say thank you to and appreciate and acknowledge someone who doesn't know me each and every day. I look for that opportunity to just share gratitude each and every day. So these are 3 or 4 that come to mind. I have 10 and I know I actually have a printout on my bedside and on my phone, and I keep glancing that just to make sure I'm accountable to myself, because I know sometimes we all go through ups and downs and your energy gets affected, and I just quickly glance at the list because I know when I do any of those 10 activities, it suddenly just gets me back on track to being at my optimum best. It goes back to how important energy is, because energy is everything. If you are in a positive, energetic state of mind, you can give your best to whatever's in front of you.
Absolutely. So quick gun, Sam, one witty answer and why. India or UK?
India. And why? Because I'm here now.
Continental food or Indian food?
Indian food. I'm a big fan of Indian food. As are all my UK friends. The ironic thing is every Sunday I'd want to have an English lunch, and every one of my English friends would want to have Indian
lunch.
They say our staple diet in the UK is Indian. It's the cuisine. Indian is our food there. So Indian.
Tony Robbins or Marshall Goldsmith?
Marshall Goldsmith, because it's long lasting. I love Tony Robbins. I've enjoyed it, but it was really an absolute high for a day, a week. But to Marshall, it's been a journey.
Fiction or self-improvement books?
Self-improvement books, no question about it. It's something that can help you in your personal and professional life.
Okay, coming to digital, LinkedIn. He's got like so many recommendations on his LinkedIn profile. Like next five. I was like clicking. Then I got tired of clicking. So he's got, and that's a very, very important thing, recommendation, because that's what people come to see there. Facebook, Twitter, Insta, which is a favorite?
LinkedIn for business and for personal is Instagram. These are the only 2 I focus on. Personal, Instagram, LinkedIn for business.
Okay. Hobbies and family. Tell us something about your hobbies.
Hobbies other than networking and meeting people. I just absolutely love going for anything live. So live concerts, live cricket games, live sporting events. To me, nothing beats live. Again, it comes to the emotional excitement. Even I've gone for games or sports which I have no clue about, but to me, live entertainment of events, concerts, shows is a big plus. Stand-up comedy I absolutely love. So that would be in that space. And I do enjoy, obviously, reading now. I read 1 book a month.
Family?
Family, my wife's name is Panna. She's a makeup artist by profession, although she's recently not practicing since we had our 2 daughters. Our daughters are 13, my older one, her name is Ambika, younger one is 6, her name is Vivina. So 2 daughters, so it's great.
Okay. The future and your new book?
The future and my new book. The future is this year I'm looking forward to being on stage more often. It's something that I'm aspiring to do, as I see I can give back from the stage and enhance one's visibility and credibility. The book's name will be around the theme of building powerful relationships, and I'd like the name like Breaking Bread. Like you had Who Moved My Cheese, you had Whale Done, you had Fish Philosophy. So to me, Breaking Bread is all about building powerful relationships.
Fantastic. Thank you, Gautam. It's been a beautiful, lovely, inspirational. People are not looking at their phones. I was very surprised. So, fantastic, fantastic. So we have Christmas every month here. People come with their gifts.
Yes.